Welcome to Health Pod, your self-development hub
on mental health, psychology, and spirituality.
Some years ago, I went through dark, months of the soul. There was a period of my life when I was really into depth, into deep waters. I was surfing there. The biggest learning was that we should listen to our bodies. You know, I was working in a kitchen for 10 years and always I had this drive, the energy, but I remember that my body was communicating with me so many times and I just didn't hear it. I had a problem with my thyroid. I've seen how embodiment work is really powerful and how much profound changes can make in your life.
Welcome to another episode of Health Pod. I'm Hélène and I'm an empowerment and embodiment coach. Today we have Kaya, a culinary chef, a life lover, a de-armoring expert, and if you don't know what that is, you need to watch the episode to find out. In today's episode, we're going to talk about cooking. We're going to go into deep conversations about the quantum field. We're going to talk about ways that we can use our body to further connect to our emotions and improve our mental state. Welcome, Kaya, to another episode of Health Pod. I am so thrilled to have you here. I am fascinated by you and by everything that you do. I have worked with you and looked into you. So I have so many questions that I want to pick your brains here today. So let's begin by starting to get to know you a little bit. Where are you from and what are you doing in Cyprus?
I'm from Slovenia. And first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I really feel honored and blessed to be here today. And I feel you're one of the women that I've met in my life that are really like inspiring with everything you do and how you are like showing yourself out there and what you offered to the world. So thank you so much for having me here.
Pleasure.
As you said, my name is Kaya. I come from Slovenia and my path took me to Cyprus to work as a private chef. This is actually the first, this is actually the reason why I arrived to Cyprus. And then I got burnout and I decided actually where I would like to spend the winter because it was winter time. So I was deciding, should I go to Slovenia or should I stay in Cyprus? And I said, well, I will make my dream come true because I always wanted to stay during the winter time in Cyprus, in the island somewhere where it's like warm, close to the sea. And that's the reason why I stayed for inner journey. And in the meanwhile, I fell in love.
Do you mean you fell in love with the island or you fell in love with somebody?
With somebody and with an island as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wonderful. You mentioned that you came here to be a chef.
Yeah.
And just before we came onto the podcast, I found out that you were on a reality TV show in Slovenia, working alongside a Michelin-starred chef. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience and how you got into cooking?
Yeah, actually, I've been cooking like since I was a little child. And my grandmother, she was actually taking care of me and my brother. And while she was cooking, I was really observing her, how she was making food with love. And she was my inspiration back then. And all the time I was like creating something in the kitchen. And I studied like photography and media and communication studies. I was working also in the agency, and all of a sudden, like
multi-talented, aren't you?
Yeah, I've experienced many parts of myself, and I've explored and tried to do many things that actually was giving me passion. And you know, we are changing all the time. And as a student, I lost a job at the agency. And then I was like asking myself, what is my passion? What actually I love to do? And I was like, oh my God, I'm cooking for so many years. So this is actually something that I would like to dive in more and see if this is something that it's really for me for a long term. And then this reality show pop out in Slovenia. And I was thinking, okay, should I go or not? You know, being there, exposing yourself, because you're actually under cameras 24/7. You know, they're filming you while you are like sleeping, doing everything. But I said, okay, I'm gonna go there for the knowledge and for the experiences, and that was my focus. So I was there with 11 strangers living at the same house. We were divided into 2 teams, and we were competing towards each other. And we were tested in many areas. There was a week where we were sleeping only 4 hours per day. So, you know, deprivation of sleep and other extreme situations, you're testing yourself and your limits.
Yes.
And also emotional-wise, you know, you are there by yourself. You really don't know the people. And being like stable and in your own alignment is really important. And this was actually 10 years ago.
Okay.
And a friend of mine, he was into the spiritual world. He said, okay, Kaya, I will give you a few tips how you can stay aligned and connected while you're there. And this is actually also how my spiritual path, let's say, or path of a human developing as a human being started.
So did you face certain challenges within you were in a house, yes?
Yes.
That gave you some sort of insight as to how to keep yourself aligned? Like there were challenges that brought you to that awareness? Whether that was interacting with people or like wanting to win the competition or being filmed 24 hours?
Yeah, there were moments of like stress. I wasn't really aware of, if I look back then, wasn't really aware of the stressful situations. But I know that every time I wanted to gain some peace, I went to the bathroom, I seated there, there was no cameras. So I just stayed there with myself, because being surrounded with so many people and pressure all the time, it takes... it can be a lot, and also they know your weak spots, so sometimes you're being pressed to your limits, and then you can see actually how you can stretch your limits. You think you can go only to a certain point, but you know, we are so much more than we think that we are, and we can go so much further than we think that we can go.
Today's episode is sponsored by Nomad, your local experts on sourdough bread, mouth-watering pastry, and specialty coffee. So for those of you that would like to start your day right and get your caffeine fix, Nomad is the place to go. Let's tune back into our wonderful episode.
With regards to you being in the show, you mentioned that you were not connected so much to spirituality at the time. Your friend gave you certain tips.
Yeah.
What was it that drew you into the more spiritual practices? Because I know that you do a lot around that now.
I would say it's a way of my life. I've been going through lots of transformations and cycles and deaths and rebirths, especially in the past 10 years. And it's not actually something that I was intentionally doing, but by the course of the life, I was just listening to myself, and let's say life and decisions brought me to the place where I am now. And especially some years ago, I went through dark, months of the soul. There was a period of my life when I was really into depth, into deep waters. I was surfing there. And
for people who don't know what that means, how would you describe that?
I would say I was faced with my deepest fears, and just the, let's say, the darkness that it's in each of every one of us, actually.
Yes, yeah.
So these things came up, and all, like, many wounds, and back then I decided that I need actually also help from someone, and that I actually need a help from a therapist. And also that was a period when I was dreaming a lot about snakes.
Really?
Yes, because actually snake is I've been connected to the snake symbol since I was a little kid. And I also, I remember the dreams when actually, and from the dreams on, the dream stopped about the snake for many years in my life. Yeah, and then in this period, I was started to dreaming again about snakes. And also, you know, I've seen snakes in the real life back then. So I had a Jungian psychotherapist, and actually we were a lot just analyzing the dreams and, you know, to find the meanings of it. So it was a very interesting period to look at my own patterns. So I went through some deep transformations back then.
A bit of a personal question around this. Did you obviously have to change a lot of what was around you after going through this, and the people around you?
I've made some decisions that was beneficial for me. So I actually, at the end of this year, I burned out, and I also quit my job. So this was happening the same,
simultaneously.
Yes.
So you're having this dark night of the soul, and you're also going through burnout physically. So the emotional and the physical are essentially transcending you to some sort of bigger experience. And what was your biggest learning from this simultaneous expansion?
The biggest learning was that we should listen to our bodies. You know, I was working in a kitchen for 10 years, and I had this drive, the energy, but I remember that my body was communicating with me so many times, and I just didn't hear it.
When you say communicating with you, how?
In a way, like, I was waking up and I was like extremely tired, like physically. And, you know, we don't take rest.
No.
We don't, you know, slow down. Because in my best times, I was working in the kitchen more than 300 hours per month. So I was, I could do, like, not for a longer period of time, but, you know, it was short, intense, a lot. And yes, you're waking up tired, and all the time my body stopped me. Like, I was getting sick from one day to another. Also, I had a problem with my thyroid. But I knew that the doctor, she wanted to give me pills to fix the problem. But deep down inside of me, I knew that when I will finish a certain period in my life, that this problem will stop. And actually, it did. Yeah. All the tests show that.
Is that because you took time off that awareness came to you, or did you do something in that process that allowed you to go from? So essentially, you healed yourself.
Yeah.
Because of rest, or because of something else?
I would say because of rest, and because of I was focusing on my wounds and on traumas, everything that brought me to a place that I burned out. You know, I'm hearing many times that people, they're doing jobs that they're passionate about. They never, burn out, which I disagree. Passion is not the reason that can take you there. But if you're like perfectionist, if you're never happy with what you do and you're looking for confirmations like outside of you, yes, all these can take you over. And this is something that actually I was dealing with perfectionism, I was not really satisfied with what I've done, I was like always, oh, I could do better, you know. And then I was start looking into my inner world, and this is how I started being more connected with my body, with myself. This is the reason that I can also, is something that I can offer to the world and to people out there.
So I know that you work with embodiment practices.
Yeah.
And do you want to explain a little bit around that?
When I was doing this therapy work, and, you know, it's some mental work and other practices which they don't involve the body, I realized that at some point you can actually do all this mental work. But I was all the time still being in the same patterns all over again. Because once you are, I think when you are aware of, when you can step out of the bubble and you can see yourself, you can see the patterns and behaviors that are just, in the cycling all the time. And then I said, I have to do something with my body, because everything, all our experiences, traumas, everything is stored in our body cells and in our bodies. So this is how, that's the reason why I started first to do yoga teacher training. And then afterwards, it was last year actually that I attended the armoring training in Berlin with Sunny Yu. And I've seen how embodiment work is really powerful, and how much profound changes can make in your life.
Tell us a little bit about de-armoring. I've tried it with you. It's phenomenal, but I will let you do the explaining.
Yeah. The armoring, the concept behind is that during our lives, we're building like armors. Armors can be like, it's a stagnant energy, traumas, all the experiences that are not so pleasant for us. They are stored in the body, and you can imagine, it's like a sort of armors, like put.
And these are stored in
us.
our cells as memories?
Yes, I would say as memories, and in the body tissues. Yes. And by pressing specific points of the body, because body is so intelligent, body do its own magic. So it releases whatever is ready to go in a certain time and moment by itself, by shaking, by laughing. People can be brought into certain memories. So everything that is ready to go, it slowly peels and goes away. And the point is to be gentle, to invite the body, that we are not invading and going really rough with the hard energy, but we let the body relax completely, and then the gentleness and the presence and everything else do its own work. And
when you feel that you are supported and held by the facilitator, me having experienced the armoring, it's almost an invitation to be able to surrender into those body parts, to be able to experience whatever needs to come up. It's a very intimate connection. And as you were speaking, I need to mention this. I remember that one of the memories that came up had to do with the gecko, and that's the little animal that came in today.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. As you were speaking, I took myself back to that moment where I felt, that shame around, or guilt for touching this animal, or, playing with it as a child and hurting it. And now it's in the studio with us here today. I mean,
and it's here.
What are the chances? What a sign. And that just arrived as you were speaking.
And it's here and supporting you with what you do and us.
Yes.
And also, while we are like peeling these layers of armors, we are allowing our life force energy, which is like creative energy, to flow more freely. And we can experience expansions in many areas in our lives.
Yeah. And you also do golden quantum meditations?
Golden quantum attunements.
Okay, here we go. Golden quantum attunements.
Because as I'm evolving and I'm also trying to find the words that I feel connected to and that actually represents what I do. And I'm changing, and then also my website and all the practices that I'm doing are actually changing and upgrading. And
so what are these attunements? Are they meditations or?
Actually, in this session, we are guided through a visual meditation with different colors that are flowing through your body. And it's a kind of vibrational meditation. Colors have vibrations. And through this meditation, we actually harmonize and attune our body cells and bodies with the quantum field as much as someone is actually ready at the given moment and time. Because in quantum field, there is everything. It's the healing can start.
So what is the quantum field, Kaya?
Quantum field is a space with no time and space with no space and no time. And there is actually everything about us, about our wisdom as an individual wisdom of the planet Earth, of the whole cosmos. This is at least how I'm perceiving and feeling the quantum field. So, and once we connect to it, we are connected with the nature, with the universe, with the flow of life. And we can flow easier with life. We can live our lives more fulfilled, more empowered, more connected with our true nature and true soul purpose. This is how I'm feeling the field. And
what's incredible about the quantum field is that if you're not aware of it, it doesn't exist.
It's true. Yeah.
But as soon as you do become aware of it, then you almost open up so many more opportunities, dimensions into your life, more connections.
Yes, I would say once you made this switch from you are the center of the universe, that everything else is the center of the universe. You are just here to play, to experience. I think many times, at least me, I forget about this playfulness.
Yes.
And that we are here to actually experience our true nature, and whatever is happening around us is actually bringing us more towards ourselves. And I would say the point is to live our truth from inside out, from our heart space, regardless in what kind of world we live, that we are not affected by it as much as we can be, and that we are living our own truth. And that we're not giving away our powers, actually. You know, the more we are distracted with outer things, the less we are connected with ourselves.
Yes.
Probably you are spending some time alone with your thoughts, with your emotions, whatever is happening. But just imagine someone who is not spending time by her or himself. Also, media can affect the person easily. So I think that now it's the point in the human history to go inward and look into our depths, our deepest things, our fears, and to let them shine and just go our path.
Yes, which is happening a lot more now. I think we see a lot more of it. Of course, because of social media, we're exposed to a lot more people. But there is definitely a much larger collective group being able to take time to look within. Today's episode is sponsored by Empowered New You, where we hold women's circles, ice bath and breathwork events and retreats across the world. You can find more information on www.drstefanos.com and in the description below. You'll be able to book your events with us as well as subscribe to our email newsletter where you'll be able to find more upcoming events. We hope to see you there.
We are at the two crossroads where the humanity will actually go. One part is going with the technology and artificial intelligence and this direction, and the other part will go let's say back to the roots, back to the nature. Like communities are more and more important to share and exchange the knowledge and wisdom and to help each other and to embrace each other. So I think this is how the human evolution will go, actually. Two worlds the same time happening in planet Earth. What I also believe is that we as human beings, we are technology. We have so much knowledge and wisdom. Once we connect with this true nature and power, I think everything is possible.
We are magnificent.
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes I just take a moment to look at the wonder of what we are and how we have been created and how we perceive the world, people around us. And to me, what you mentioned, community, is so important. Do you feel like you have a community that supports you? And who are the most important people for you?
The most important people for me are my family. Few of my closest friends, but to say that I have my community, no, I haven't found it yet. So I'm still I'm not in search of it, but I feel that it will come when the time will be. Yes.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was about to say the same thing.
Because actually, I've been, for the past few years, I've been really doing a lot of inner work, transformations, and I've been more or less by myself. I mean, I have few friends that you're connected, but going out there and sharing your truth and connecting with people, this is the moment now that I'm doing, speaking to you and with other people. And things come naturally. Is
that because you feel more confident? You know who you are at this point in your life?
I feel the time is perfect to do that. Yeah. When you are so long in your own, let's say, bubble, I have fears of going, exposing myself and talking about things, maybe talking about things that people don't even understand. So this is me going out of my comfort zone.
For anyone that is in that bubble right now and listening to us, what tips would you give them to be able to get out of their own shell?
My tips would be to have a lot of love and compassion towards yourself and just try it. Because if you don't try things, you never know how it would be, what possibilities actually you can have, which doors can open for you. And on this journey, don't be too judgmental and hard on yourself. So a lot of compassion and love towards yourself, it's the number one tip.
I feel that that's the main thing that most people are struggling with, and it's one of the hardest concepts when we speak about self-love. Do you think that comes from the ability to look within?
Not necessarily. Because you can look within and your thoughts about yourself can be destructive. So I think the ability to step out and observe your thoughts, because with our self-talk is the most, it's the number one, I would say, that we are, when we are communicating with ourselves, and to and then to look into our inner child, you know, and who is this thought that is talking negatively about ourselves? Is the adult me part, or is the child that actually didn't get what needed back then? So I think once you are aware of your thoughts towards yourself, you can become more gentle and self-loving. Because, you know, taking a bath every week, or doing let's say self-massages, that is not really self-love. It's a part of it. But words have vibrations, thought have vibrations. You know, we were talking that body has a memory. So the thoughts affects our bodies. So it's so connected.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about From the Body Up.
From the Body Up, yes, I would love to. It's actually a concept. From the Body Up, it's a retreat.
Okay.
That it's happening end of August in Slovenia with 4 other amazing women facilitators. But the concept From the Body Up, it starts from my own journey. I discovered that to develop myself, and you know, that everything that I do in my life, the base is the body. So it starts from the body, from my roots up. You can be very spiritual and be very in the clouds up there, but we are here in our bodies in this time of universe. And this is why we're here. So we should connect both of the worlds. And during my work with people, and especially with women, I've discovered that many people are so disconnected with the bodies. And also, this is the reason why the retreat came up with that. We're going to do a lot of creative practices, like free flow dance, conscious touch, creating our own essence, somatic movement, Kundalini healing as well. And with all these playful practices, we're going to actually connect more with ourselves and with the bodies, so we can actually start living here and now with the base, and to be empowered, inspired, so we can also live our lives. Because it's actually, we can do a lot of like spiritual practices, but the point is to put them into the daily life. And also like cooking can be very spiritual practice. And painting as well. So everything can be this kind of practice.
It's almost the intention that you put into it and how you move about with the simplest things. When you were describing being a chef, I had this vision of you just like throwing the way that you're placing the herbs in there and doing your magic. You know, that in itself is an art form, and there is so much expression and love and passion that goes into it, that whoever tastes the food also has part of that experience.
It's true.
Yeah.
It is. Actually, sometimes I'm seeing myself how I'm like flowing in the kitchen and just putting spices inside, chopping. It's flow actually. And whatever is flowing through us, it goes in the food as well. That's why it's really important in what kind of state you are when you prepare the food.
Yes. For people that want to connect more to this flow state, what would you recommend to them?
to connect with themselves first, not to have intention to, I want to be in a flow, because everything starts from within, from us, and things come naturally. I never pushed myself to do anything. I had a phase when I was really intentionally doing a lot of spiritual work and digging more into my wounds. What's the next thing I can do? What's the next thing? And it didn't brought me to a good place.
Yes.
So my approach now is more gentle, and I feel that really while you're doing specific things, life is opening doors for you. Yes. So you don't have to push anything.
No, yeah.
Because things come. Before getting a job as a private chef, this dream I was cultivating in myself for 2 years. In between, I went also in Berlin. And first time I was actually declined. They said, no, okay, it's not the time for you to be a private chef. And then a year later, I was actually being called from the same family. Yes. But during this year, everything I was doing, I always was carrying these dreams inside of me somewhere, and they came.
So you are a chef for a private family or private families here in Cyprus?
I'm chef for private families.
For
yes.
different families, okay.
Yeah.
So you cook for the whole family?
Yes.
And is there a specific, do you design the meal plan for them? Like there's a holistic approach to it, or based on what they want?
It really depends. Sometimes I have a family that exactly knows what they want to eat, which I really love.
Okay.
But I can still be creative in that framework, Maybe they can say gazpacho. These I was making yesterday. But, what kind of gazpacho and what I'm going to put inside is actually my creativity. Then I have another family which they don't know what I'm going to cook. So usually while I'm driving through their house, I'm getting ideas. I'm not forcing myself, what I'm going to cook today, but the ideas always come by itself. Or sometimes when I'm grocery shopping, I'm getting the ideas and that's it. So it really depends on their wishes.
I see. What impact does food have on us?
Food has a lot of impact on us. I'm not for a specific diet. I think that body is so intelligent that it tells us exactly what we need at specific day to support ourselves. Okay, I'm not talking about like sugar cravings or any other addictions, because I was a sugar addict. So yes, I really know what kind of damage it can does to your body, and not only physical but also mental and emotional body as well. So it's really important to listen to ourselves and to consume as clean food as possible. I've noticing that here in Cyprus, when you see me in the shop, I'm reading labels all the time. And there are a lot of hidden additives which they do the harm to your body. So I prefer more clean, less additives, seasonal as much as possible, organic. If you know the farmer, how he or she grows the food, it doesn't have to be organic, but as long as you know that it's not, that it doesn't have unnecessary things inside. And apart from that, as we mentioned before, how you prepare the meals, it's also important. How do you are you making meals because you're going to put love into yourself and you're going to nurture yourself, or you're going to make meals just because you have to eat something and it doesn't matter what you put inside. So the intention and awareness why you're doing something and why you are like eating, I think it's very important.
Bringing more consciousness to how we eat, what we eat.
Exactly.
And tuning into our bodies intuitively as to what it needs.
Exactly.
So, Kaya, I have one last question for you. Who is Kaya without all the titles? Because we've heard, you know, you've done photography and you're a chef and you're de-armoring expert, and there's so many wonderful things that we've spoken about here today. But who is Kaya without all of that?
I would say I'm a life lover and a life explorer.
Life lover and a life explorer.
Yes.
Lovely. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being on here today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for having me here.
And I'll definitely be seeing you soon.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. It's been an absolute pleasure filming it for you guys. If you like the work that we are putting out into the world, please make sure you like this video and you subscribe to our channel. It really helps the work that we do.
And if you would like to follow our journey on our IG accounts, as well as learn more about our services, we provide everything for you in the description below. Thanks for watching.